I need to get something off my chest that's been weighing on me for months now. And honestly, I think a lot of you are going to recognize yourselves in this. I'm 25 years old. I work as an engineer in the United States, and I earn what most people would consider a solid income. And before you click away thinking this is just another privileged tech bro complaining from a comfortable position, please just give me a moment. Because what I'm about to explain isn't a flex at all. It's actually the opposite. What I want to share highlights just how broken the system really is right now. I spent 8 years working minimum wage and retail jobs to put myself through community college and then university. I paid my way the entire time. No student loans, no debt. I did everything right. I studied computer science, learned how to code, and eventually landed the kind of job guidance counselors love to talk about. On paper, I won. I followed the path that was sold to us growing up. The safe path. The smart path. But here's what nobody tells you about that dream. Tech layoffs are everywhere. Hiring freezes are the norm. Entry-level jobs are disappearing, either being automated by AI or shipped overseas. Companies aren't training juniors anymore. They expect mid-level experience for junior pay. Meanwhile, my friends are sending out hundreds of applications, rewriting their resumes again and again, taking minimum wage jobs just to survive while waiting for something, anything, in their actual field to open up. And here's the part that really messes with me. Even someone in my position, someone who did everything society told them to do and earns what's considered good money, is barely staying ahead. I live with roommates. We're not taking luxury vacations and we're not buying new cars. Home ownership isn't even a serious thought. We're surviving. Comfortably, sure, but still just surviving. If someone like me is only barely ahead, then the traditional American path isn't just difficult anymore. It's fundamentally broken for most people my age. And over the years, I started to realize something important. That's why I'm making this video. We don't actually have to keep playing a game that's clearly rigged against us. We can change the game entirely. And Gen Z might be the first generation that's both pressured enough and equipped enough to actually do that. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Another video telling us to work harder, start a side hustle, or grind more hours. That's not what this is. This is about looking at the actual numbers, understanding the reality we're stepping into, and making strategic decisions based on facts, not outdated stories about how life is supposed to work. So let me walk you through what's really happening to our generation, and then I'll share the alternative path I'm personally taking. No hype, just numbers, logic, and a real plan. Let's start with my friends because their situation is far more common than mine. They did everything right. They earned the degree, built the resume, developed the skills, and then they graduated right as mass layoffs began. Right as hiring froze. Right as I started replacing entry-level roles that used to serve as stepping stones into real careers. Hundreds of applications. Endless resume tweaks. Rejection after rejection, or worse, complete silence. They're working jobs they're wildly overqualified for just to pay rent, all while continuing to apply and hope. And what makes me angry is this. This isn't their fault. This isn't laziness or poor planning. This is what happens when an entire generation enters a radically different economy than the one they were prepared for. Economists actually have a name for this. It's called a wage penalty. Graduating into a weak job market can suppress your earnings for 10 to 15 years. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime income lost purely because of timing. If you graduated in 2025 instead of 2018 or 2019, you're not starting from the same place. You're starting behind, and that gap never fully closes. Even the National Bureau of Economic Research has shown that graduating during recession-like conditions causes long-term earnings losses. It can take 8 to 10 years just to catch up to peers who entered the workforce a few years earlier. And even then, that early gap follows you for life. My friends are living proof of this. They're capable, motivated, and intelligent, but timing alone is costing them dearly. And this is becoming the norm for Gen Z graduates. Now, I don't want this to be pure doom and gloom because there is a strange upside to all of this. This environment is forcing us to develop skills traditional employment never taught. income diversification, adaptability, self-reliance, learning how to create value outside of a single employer. These are the skills you build when you're planning an exit strategy, not climbing a corporate ladder. The job market, as broken as it is unintentionally training us for independence. And again, I'm not saying this is good. I'm saying we can still extract value from a bad situation. Let's talk about college because this is where the systems cracks really show. College tuition has increased about 180% since the early 2000s. Meanwhile, when you adjust for inflation, entry-level salaries have barely moved at all. In real terms, they're basically flat. People look at nominal salary increases and think wages went up, but they ignore inflation and housing costs. Many older generations bought homes decades ago, locking in low costs of living. New graduates don't have that advantage, so education costs far more, delivers the same earning power, and saddles students with massive debt. The average student loan balance is around $37,000, and six figures is no longer rare. You're paying more for the same degree, entering a weaker job market, and earning less in real terms than graduates did 25 years ago. If this were any other investment, everyone would immediately call it a scam. Yes, there are ways around this. Community college, working through school, but most people were sold a different story. Just get the degree, the job will come. You'll pay it off eventually. Except now, eventually means decades, and the jobs aren't even guaranteed anymore. This is forcing Gen Z to seriously question education ROI. More people are asking whether a $100,000 or $200,000 degree makes sense when it leads to the same outcomes as far cheaper alternatives. So we're routing around the system, not because we want to rebel, but because we have to. And learning how to question the system might be one of the most valuable skills we gain. And it doesn't stop there. I didn't fully understand this until recently, but the American healthcare system isn't designed to keep you healthy. It's designed to keep you employed. The average annual employer-sponsored health insurance premium is over $8,400 for a single person and around $24,000 for a family. That's just the premium. Deductibles can be close to $18,000 before coverage even starts. Medical debt causes roughly 60% of bankruptcies in the United States, in the richest country on earth. This creates a form of entrapment. You're locked into jobs you hate because leaving means risking your health or paying hundreds of dollars a month for worse coverage. You can't take time off. You can't experiment. You can't start something risky because you need insurance. This isn't just broken, it's coercive. And then there's kids. Having children in the US is becoming a luxury. Childcare alone can cost up to $30,000 per year per child. 2 kids? That's $60,000 annually after tax. Many families are forced into a situation where both parents must work non-stop just to afford care. Kids are raised by screens. Parents miss their children's lives, and the US offers 0 mandatory paid parental leave, while nearly every other developed nation offers months. So Gen Z delays having kids or opts out entirely. We're told to build families while being handed an economy that makes it financially irrational. People are even leaving the US to raise children elsewhere, places that solved these problems decades ago. Add car dependency to the mix. The average car costs over $1,000 per month when you factor in payments, insurance, gas, and maintenance. That's $12,000 a year on a depreciating asset just to function in society. Public transit is unreliable or non-existent in most cities. Walking and biking are impractical. You don't get a choice. It's no surprise nearly 40% of workers now rely on side hustles, often with no benefits, no stability, and no protection. One algorithm change can wipe out income overnight. Yes, it builds skills, but hustle culture is a symptom, not a solution. And then there's Social Security. I pay thousands every year into a system projected to run out by 2034. We're funding benefits we're told won't exist for us. I'm not angry at older generations. I'm angry at a system pretending this is sustainable. Now let me be clear. This isn't a complaint. I know I'm fortunate. I didn't always make this money. I've made $30,000. I've made $40,000. I know how tight things get. But being in this position gave me clarity. If this system barely works for me, it's failing almost everyone else. That's when it clicked. The solution isn't grinding harder in a game designed for a different era. The solution is realizing you're playing the wrong game. What if we leverage the one real advantage we have, earning in strong currencies, and relocate somewhere with a dramatically lower cost of living and equal or better quality of life? Places like Portugal, Thailand, Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, Malaysia, you can live well on $1,500 to $2,500 a month. At $2,500 monthly, that's $30,000 per year. With a 4% withdrawal rate, you only need about $750,000 invested to sustain that indefinitely. Compare that to the US, where healthcare alone can add hundreds of thousands to retirement costs. This isn't escaping, it's strategic relocation. These aren't backpacker setups, these are modern cities with reliable internet, healthcare, transit, and thriving expat communities. That's my exit strategy. And if this resonates, here's how I'm approaching it. Build remote-friendly skills. Optimize finances early. Research countries seriously and test before committing. Invest aggressively while time is on your side. This isn't a loser mentality, it's playing a different game. Gen Z isn't losing, we're opting out of a system that stopped making sense. And being forced to rethink everything might actually lead us to build something better. That's why I'm documenting this journey. Not to preach, but to explore what's possible when you question the default path. So, what do you think? Are you staying, leaving, fighting for change? Or building an exit? All are valid. And if you're exploring location independence, alternative income, or geographic arbitrage, I'll be sharing more soon. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.